At the Ecosystem Management Research Group of the University of Antwerp, researchers study the interaction between aquatic vegetation and water flow. Many of the lowland rivers in Belgium are characterized by a flourishing water plant community. Their biomass in summer can be so high that the plants impede the current velocity and hamper the drainage of the river. This is a normal ecological situation, but can be negative for humans that live or work close to the river. The hampered drainage causes higher water levels that often result in land that is too wet or even flooded. This can be problematic for agriculture, for instance. One of the measures that the government takes to manage this is the periodic removal of these water plants by mechanical mowing.
2 maal per jaar doen we ongeveer maaien, en zeker als het heel natte jaren zijn. Want, in het voorjaar doen we alleen de bodemmaaiing. Dan beginnen we van onderaan het talus en dan pakken we heel de bodem mee. En in het najaar dan pakken we het talus ook mee, dan beginnen we gewoon van bovenaf te maaien en dan pakken we heel de gracht maaien we mee door.
The removal of the water plants clearly had a significant effect on the water level. It decreased by about 30 centimeters, which is around 30% of the total water depth. Also, the current velocity increased, which means that the drainage is improved. However, the effects on ecology are largely unknown. We clearly see that oxygen levels decline suddenly during mowing and only recover slowly. Some fish and invertebrates were removed with the macrophytes, and it's unlikely that they will find their way back to the river. But many other processes can be affected too. For instance, nutrient cycling, resuspension of organic matter, and effects on biodiversity, to name just a few. At the Ecosystem Management Research Group, we study these ecological effects and advise the local government on how to improve its management efforts. Our advice to the government was to mow in patterns instead of taking out all vegetation at once. In an artificial laboratory river, we tested a couple of patterns of vegetation mowing on their level of resistance to the flow. We tested a situation where the river was filled with vegetation, no mowing, when it was completely cleared of vegetation, traditional mowing, and where the vegetation was mowed in 3 different patterns. It turned out that the level of resistance was up to 10 times lower for the different mowing patterns than it was when the river was full with vegetation. Furthermore, it was equally as effective as clearing all the vegetation from the river. This means that if managers leave sections of vegetation in the river and mow only in a certain pattern, the drainage function of the river will be restored, while the remaining vegetation can still fulfill its ecological role.